Hello and welcome to the Jers TV. We've got Sai here joining us from the red light district. Hi Sai, how are you doing, mate?
Aye, all good, mate. I'm in my flat tonight, so I'm a wee 60s bar. It's got a red light on it, and I'm in my bubble chair. I'm not in the studio tonight. A wee change. I don't normally like it. I always like to date from the studio, but I've been busy and I've not had a chance to get out. So we're we're going in raw. We're going in body.
Yeah. So for the show today, we're going to be discussing tomorrow's big game against Annan in the Scottish Cup fourth round. And we'll go through the predicted lineup and then look at the transfers as well because we have been busy this week, Sai, haven't we?
We have been, to be fair, the way Rangers have went about their transfer business, it's been outstanding, very professional. We've highlighted over the last few weeks the positions that we want filled, and they're doing that. They're filling all the positions that they've done. So fair play.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, it's not often that I look at a squad and think we need players in certain positions and we need certain types of players, and for the club to actually go out and get those type of players as well, which is
Yeah.
quite a rarity. So honestly, I'm buzzed. I can't stop refreshing my phone, going on Sky Sports, going on social media, looking at waiting for an announcement on Scott Olsen and to see who else we're linked with as well and who else is going to come in because watching Danny Rall's interview today, there's more signings incoming. He mentions more positions that he wants filling. I mean, mate, 15 years of bar 1 year of absolute garbage and things are looking up, mate.
He's obviously, I would say definitely, he's definitely spoke to Kavanagh, etc., the 49ers, and said to him he wants his team. And he's quite right to be doing that because it's not his fault that they bought Dross in at the start of the season. It's not his fault the Russell Martin era took place. It's not his fault Rangers are so far back in the league when he took the job. But listen, he's got us into third place. We're back to third now. He's got us into third place in the league. We're all on level games, and now he wants to cement his team, his style, his tactics, his way. And I think it's only fair, but fair play and all credit to the Americans and the board because they're going about their business in a good manner. And I don't think anybody's rejected us yet. Sometimes you go in for players and we don't have enough money or whatever. We seem to be doing the business behind the scenes. When I heard the interview today with the boy, the left back, he said the Rangers have been speaking to him for a few weeks. So you're right. This is all well planned and well in advance.
Yeah, we know what we're doing. We know what the profile of player that we want. We know who our targets are, and we're going out and getting them. Getting a player like Skov Olsen. I mean, the numbers that he got. I know things haven't necessarily worked out for him at Wolfsburg. He's only been there he's just been there about 12 months. So and it's obviously things happen. Sometimes the club doesn't work out for you. But his numbers at Club Bruges, if we can get that Skov Olsen playing for us, and he's still only 26. I think he turned 26 in December. So we could be getting him in his prime. And the fact that he wanted to come to us, he wanted to come and play for Rangers. He wants to come and play under Danny Rowe. He wanted to come for this project that we've been able to sort of show to him. So I'm really excited about it, and I feel like we need an upgrade in that position. We'll go through my team that I'm predicting for tomorrow's game shortly, but we needed someone on that right hand side. We've got Ant-Man and Curtis really, but Curtis is too young. He needs to go out on loan, which I think he might be going off to Killy. And we need an upgrade in that position, and we're getting it. We need an upgrade at left back, or not necessarily an upgrade, but someone who's going to be here permanently and competition for Magoma, because I actually think Magoma's done really well. And some physicality in midfield, which we've got, and I'm just so excited to see what other players this club brings in. Before we continue on to transfers, then shall we just look at and discuss tomorrow's game quickly? We look at the predicted 11 that I've chosen for this game. I'll tell you why as well, and you can give me your thoughts on
I'll
that.
just let you read them out because I've not got my Gregory Peck one.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll read it out now. So I've gone for. So I've already got a comment here from Mac Lee. I'll read out before I start. Sorry, Moore won't be playing at centre mid. I'll go into that in a second. So I've gone Kelly in midfield, Enciala and Giga as centre back pairing. I just feel like Suter's had his injury problems this season. He's not going to want to risk him in this game. And Fernandez, he's played a lot of games recently. And again, he's been so valuable to us. I feel like playing him in a game like this. I think he just doesn't want to risk him. So Enciala for me. And then Max Aarons, again, just rotation for Tav coming out. Tav doesn't need to play this game. And then I've gone for Magoma as well because I don't feel like the new signing is going to be ready yet. So
Yeah,
I think they're going to ease him in. He might be on the bench tomorrow and he might play 10, 15 minutes or whatever because apparently he is fit and ready, but they just want to get him up to the right level of fitness. So you might see him tomorrow. And I have gone so my midfield three. I was thinking about this for some time, and some of the comments that Danny Rawlers made about obviously the loss of Barron. I feel like in his press conference today, he mentioned about wanting to bring in another midfielder. I can't see him wanting to risk Diomande or Raskin in this game. And that's why I've gone for this midfield three. You're playing, a League Two side in Annan. I think they're like seventh in League Two, are they? So, we won't be doing much work defensively. So I feel like he's going to try to get as much attacking players onto this pitch as possible. So more he can play in those positions. He can play in that 8 or 10 role. So I would like to see him give it a go. And Asgard again, getting as many creative players on the pitch as possible to try and score as many goals and finish this game early. Then in the attack, I've gone for Gassama on the left, Miovski down the middle, and Ant-Man on the right. I've not started Skov Olsen because obviously he hasn't been announced yet. And I hope he does get announced tomorrow and he's eligible for the game. But then still, I don't think he would start him just because it's been a hectic few days for him coming to a new country, to a new club, settling in. I think, and Ant-Man needs the game time. He's been around the place for some time now, so I think Ant-Man starts. Miovski needs to get some game time because he's not been playing since Schmidt's been on
yeah.
form. And then I want to see again Gassama on the left-hand side, where in his favoured position. So I've gone for that. What are your thoughts, mate?
I don't know if I agree with that entirely. I think he'll go with caution to the wind after what happened to Clermont last season. It could be a bit smart. I think he'll go with a stronger team. However, that's the kind of team I think he'll finish with. I think Fernandez will start. Liam Kelly done the press conference, so I'm pretty sure he'll be playing. That's fair income, to be fair. Tavernier has to be dropped because he's not got the legs, and there's a game like that, you've got to drop him for it. Giga coming in's a good move. I would agree with that. So their defence, just really Fernandez is the only thing I'm not sure about with that. In terms of the midfield and the attack, Ant-Man's more or less fit now, so you've got to start playing him 100%. I would go with that team, just the defence, but the big one for me is what you mentioned, is it Eb Skodal, you call him, the boy? They haven't signed him yet, but it looks like it's in the bag. What I would be doing is if he signs tomorrow morning, I'd be seeing he's on the bench. Because even if you only bring him on at half time or like say for the fans or whatever, it could add a couple of thousand onto the gate. It's a Friday night. Who wants to go to football on a Friday night? It would get more fans there. It would get the fans up on their feet as well. But Ant-Man on one side, Ant-Man playing on the right and Gassama on the left is where we want to see the two of them. I don't know if Ant-Man will be a regular in the Rangers team, but this gives him a chance to get back into it. And Gassama's much better on the left, as we know. So, that makes sense. Did you put Miovski up front? Is that what you
I
put?
put Miovski up front. Yeah, I think he
Aye.
needs the game time. He needs to start
He needs a
scoring
game
some
time.
goals again. So.
Dropping Shermiti for a couple of games and getting him a break's not a bad shout as well. And Miovski needs to get really match fit and get right back into it. The same as Ant-Man. I wouldn't want to underestimate Annan. So we've seen it early years, these cup shocks. The last thing you want to do is be smart all season, have egg in your face. But that team that you've said there is more than capable of taking a good few goals off of Annan and getting us an entertaining night.
Yeah, and I think we have seen shocks. We saw the shock with Macclesfield beating Crystal Palace, and we saw the shock with last night. Real Madrid got beat by a second division side, so it is possible. I just feel like at Ibrox, both of those shocks, I believe they're away from home, which there's more chance of that sort of thing happening. But at Ibrox, and I obviously know we got beat at Ibrox last year by Queen's Park, but they're a different level to Annan. They were only one division below us, whereas Annan's a few divisions below us. So I can't see it. I can't see there being touch wood. I can't see there being any shocks tomorrow. I'm going to predict 5-0 for this game. What about yourself?
So I've just got a text mate, an interesting text message here for somebody we're going to be interviewing soon. I can't say the
All
name on
good.
it. I've not got my specs. I've just seen the name. I think Rangers. It'll be a clean sheet, and I'm going to go for 5-0 to Rangers. They should be running a walk. Is that what you went 5 there?
I went 5, yeah.
Aye, sorry, well, I'll change it to 4. I'll go with 4 and also get a bit of variety. Variety is the spice of life. That's what the judge is going to tell my wife.
Well, I just hope that we see goals, mate,
Yeah.
because we need to start getting, these attackers on form, scoring goals because, we are winning games, but a lot of that is down to obviously set pieces, etc., which
Let
are
me
an
put
important part.
let me put this to you then. That's all we really lack now. If we can get no point calling them goal scorers when they're not scoring many goals. If we can get the attackers scoring more goals, everything else has been pretty good. To be fair,
Yeah, we are solid at the back. I think we've got the best defense in the league. We're great at set pieces. If we can work on the attacking side of it, if we can work on our free flowing football going forward and can start creating chance after chance and pinning teams back, in their final third, you know, this could be the start of something. And I feel like we're identifying that. Chukwani is a player that can win that ball for you in midfield to keep the pressure on them. You bringing in Romans. I think he's got like the second. I think he was top 10 in Belgium for crosses, and he was like the second best player or something in Belgium for like attacking runs. So he's someone who wants to get forward constantly, and that's the sort of thing we need. We need attackers from all sides of it. We need our right back, our left backs overlapping, underlapping, getting forward. Causing chaos, getting more bodies in the box. Having that variety on the right wing now, where you've got Scott Olsen that can come in and has got a good shot on him from his left foot, can go outside on his right foot. Keep the defenders guessing. But we're
the
going to add to
interesting
this as
thing,
well.
the interesting thing what you're mentioning there. See all these players that were signed. They're all guys that can create severe danger to the attacking teams. And we've saw what's happened in the last 5 weeks with the set pieces. Now, this has been the way in England the last couple of years. A lot of English teams set pieces as their whole game, and obviously Rangers came for it. The boy came for set piece coach. He came for Lincoln. If I remember, we done a show saying that we weren't actually that keen on it at the time. But when you look back, how wrong were we? He's been doing that with pretty shitty players at times. He's created all these goals from the set pieces. Now he's adding in new firepower. So
Hmm.
there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot to be
This
excited about Ibrox now.
There is so much to be excited about, especially if we can bring in a few more players. If we were to bring in any more players this window, what positions would you want filling?
Well, we've signed 3 just now. So what have we
Mm.
got to do? We've got left back, midfield, and right wing. Is that right?
Yeah, I think left back's covered now. Then we've got right wing, which I think right wing's covered.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
midfield.
centre mid.
Centre mid. So it's really just for me, it would be an attack, a striker. I think Butland, for all the moaning we've done about Butland the last couple of months, he's came right out of his game again and he's
Hmm.
cemented his place. So fair play to him there. I would be looking at either. I don't think we need another to justify another centre half. You need to get one gunners in them, and I think that the ones we've got are all right. They're not great, but they're all right. Fernandez being the best at the bad bunch. Cornelius, if he comes back, is a good player. But I'd be looking at a striker. I know we've got Miovski, and we've also got Danilo and what's his name? I forgot his name now.
Shimiti.
Shumiti. Aye, after a stressful day, sorry. We've got plenty of strikers, but we've not got plenty of strikers that are scoring goals. And I've been
No.
saying for months, a poacher, just somebody that can put the ball in the back of the net, somebody that scores with his arse, with the back of his head. We don't really care, but somebody who's in the right place at the right time. Similar to last night's game, I watched the Falkirk Celtic game. Falkirk should have been 4-0 up in the first 10 minutes, but they didn't have a poacher. And that's what Rangers are needing, I think, a poacher.
Yeah. We need someone that's gonna that you're gonna have confidence in them putting the ball in the back of the net that we can rely on to score goals. Because Shimiti has done well over the last few weeks, but still, when he gets that chance against Aberdeen, you want someone there to be able to finish that
Yeah.
and have the confidence that they're going to finish it. And Shimiti's not there yet. He's not there yet. He's been doing really well in other parts of his game, and he had his shooting boots on against Celtic, but moving forward, we can't rely on him for goals, So I agree. I would like to see another attacker come in. But I don't know. But the thing is, if we go for a striker, we need to get rid of a striker, right? We're not getting rid of Shmiti. Can't see Miovski leaving. So I think a number 9 would depend on Danilo going somewhere. So um,
Aye, because
are there going
there's
to be
two
any
things there.
bias for him? I haven't heard any rumors yet. I mean, let me know in the comments if you've heard any rumors about Danilo.
The
But yeah,
thing
like you
is,
say, Matt Kalou, the only way that he could possibly get a striker is Danilo gets sold. So if we can
look,
get him gone, then
there's two problems here. You're right what you're saying. We need to get rid of players. We need to get rid of strikers and some centre halves or whatever. There's two problems. One problem is the financial fair play. We can't just buy players. We have to balance the books, as we know. And also, we can't have the club run that way anyway, where they're just buying players and we put ourselves into a debt. We can't be doing that. We have to be managed correctly and do things the right way. And I think the Americans are doing that, to be fair. But if you got an offer for Danilo, and realistically for me, I know we paid 6 million for him, but realistically for me, if you could get Danilo off the wage bill, anything really I would take just to get him away. But they're obviously going to try and get a fee from him.
yeah, of course, and we need that because, and this is the whole model, the player trading model. We need to get, we need to start getting money for our players. We can't allow players to go for nothing, or selling 5 players for like 900 grand or whatever did the other year, and
And remember,
letting the
it's
likes
all right.
of Ryan Kent and go for nothing.
Also, mate, it's all right,
You
me,
know,
you. It's all right, me and
sorry,
you
go
and
on.
the guys, right? It's all right, us all saying just get rid of the players and just get rid of the half the wage bill. That's not the way it works in the business world. The directors of the club and the people
No.
employed, if they just got rid of them all, we'd be the first ones complaining if when you see the books in a couple of years' time. When it's next year's AGM or whatever, they don't have to show you them anymore. But if the books are showing that we've not made any money, we're the first ones to start moaning. Oh, that's not how you run a club. So you have to, we're getting our opinion as fans, but I think behind the scenes, we didn't know about the players coming in, so we might not know about the players going out. I think they're doing the right thing. They're professional. We like to hear the rumours and things like that, but you don't hear them with these guys, which is a good thing.
Yeah, so talking about players going out, then I think there's a couple of players going out on loan this month. I think they're probably close to being confirmed. Curtis going to Killy. What are your thoughts on that?
That's a great one for them. Aye. There's a very little. There's pressure on them in terms of they're going to probably get relegated and everything else. But in terms of winning games, he doesn't have that pressure, and he's in the guys who the management team have obviously Neil McCann and Billy Dodds obviously know all about him. So he's getting in with fresh feet. He's getting in with familiar faces, and he'll probably do really well there. So I think that's probably the best move for him in the league.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be under coaches that are going to look after him. He's a young boy. He's going to need to be developed, and I feel like having someone like Neil McCann developing him is he's the perfect person in my opinion. So I think that'd be a good move. I think that'd be a really good move. And then you've got Lyle Cameron and the Aberdeen links that came out not long before we went live. So
I just seen that before we came on. I wouldn't think that'd be a good move for the young boy, to be fair, because I think they would make his life hell. And that club's toxic, and I don't see how that would work out for him.
yeah, I was going to say would they accept the loanee from us? Would the fans accept that?
I would personally rather, if I was the boy anyway, if I was Cameron, I would rather be in the Rangers playing in the B team and trying to make his team. I know it's no ideal because he's a good football player. He was a great Dundee player and he's got great potential, but it just doesn't seem to be good enough for Rangers, and I don't know why. But I think that would set him back going to Aberdeen. If anything, maybe go to England or lower leagues or something, or try and fight for his place. But I don't think going to Aberdeen would be a good move for him.
Yeah, I'm a bit. I want him to go to another Scottish Premiership club because I feel like if he becomes a big player for them and then they play us or they play our rivals, they might give that extra percent against our rivals, and plus they can't play against us. So, if he becomes a big player for them, they lose a big player for our games. So that's always a plus. And if he can, if Lyle Cameron can if he does go to an Aberdeen or if he goes to Killy or whoever, and he can play against Celtic, play against Hearts, get a goal or two to try and take points off them. I feel like that's what we need to make do more of. We need to be filling up the Scottish Premiership with players on loan from us so we can weaken them when we need them to be weaker.
It's just no Aberdeen. I don't think would be a good set. I just think he's toxic.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. The boy would be better going out and loan somewhere.
Yeah, and and there are definitely plenty of clubs where that would take him, because he had a good spell at Dundee, and in my opinion, he's good enough to play for us. He started the season wrong in terms of like having an injury and stuff, and I feel like he's never really been up to speed. And when Danny Roll came in, I don't think he's necessarily been given the opportunity. I'm not sure he's what Danny Roll's looking for, big physical players, and Cameron isn't that. He's
Yeah,
only a small guy, isn't he? So maybe he's just not going to fit the mold of what Danny Roll's looking for, and that happens. So maybe a year or two, and he's still a young boy, so maybe a year or two out on loan, and potentially he can toughen up a bit and get a bit stronger and come back into the starting 11 at some point in his career. But yeah, so, and the comment here from Matt Glue as well, talking about Enciala potentially going on loan as well. I think Enciala needs to go on loan, but I think it also depends on Cornelius, because if
just going to move
Cornelius,
this chair, mate. I'm going to run out of power. Sorry, I'm going to need to
yeah,
quickly
that's
put the
fine. I'll just keep talking. You crack on. Cornelius needs to. It depends when he's back. I'm not actually sure if someone in the comments knows better than me when Cornelius is scheduled to be back. Please let us know, but I'm not sure when he's going to be back. So NCR can only go on loan if we have cover for that position. But I would also be looking at potentially the right back situation, because I've been hearing rumours about Max Aarons being linked with the likes of Lazio, etc., and Bournemouth can't be happy with him not actually playing games. So Max Aarons could be getting recalled from his loan spell, and then we're looking at signing a right back. So that wouldn't surprise me either, if we went and got one. And I do feel like we need to potentially look at reducing the loan players that we've got. I think when Scovolson comes in, that would be number 6. Is that like the limit of loan players that we can have? So we want to potentially reduce the work that we need to do in the summer by reducing some loans now. I'll go to some of the comments then. Ian White saying he really needs minutes in the first team, not the B team. Is too good for that. I believe there's a player in Cameron. Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's definitely a player in Cameron. When Russell Martin was here, there was some of the games where I thought he was our best player, and I thought he was the best player and maybe our best signing at that time. And we got him for a compensation fee. So I definitely think he needs to get first team minutes, and he needs to show the manager what he can do, and just be that at a different club. But I think there's definitely a future for him at the club for sure. Um, let's have a look at some more. Would you take Sapsford from Dundee United if we got rid of Danilo's side? Would you take him?
Nah, half decent striker, right? But nah, I don't think that's it. I just want a poacher. I just want the sort of striker that puts the ball in the net, and he's in the right place at the right time. I don't know if he's the man for that. To be fair,
Yeah, and the thing is with players that do well for one of the lesser clubs, shall I say, in Scottish football. I kind of want to make sure that they are consistently performing at a level. You know, I would say I would want to see, for a player like Sapsford. I wouldn't go for him in this window. I'd probably want to wait and see how the second half of the season goes for him, and potentially, we might go for him in the summer. But
but
there's
I
also
do
links with
agree.
Bowie from Hibs as well. But they
I do.
want
That's what I was going to say. I do
6.5 million.
agree. We should be looking at the Scottish market. The boy Bowie would be a good move. I think we've been linked to him a few times,
But would
so
you
that'd
pay
be good.
6.5 million for him?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because it's Rangers, it's going to the price goes up as well, doesn't it? No, I wouldn't pay that kind of money. But at the same time, was Danilo worth anything like that? Well, he
No,
wasn't really.
but
No.
but, but that's it. Like, we paid that amount for Danilo. Having someone in Bowie's got, or Satford for that matter, having experience in the Scottish game, understanding the culture and the sort of clubs and the type of football that you're going to come up against. I feel like we do need to have someone like that. It's still, and I was saying this on the WhatsApps, last night with Shanklin scoring another goal. We could have got in for free in the
Yeah.
summer and
Until my
sorted so
logo.
many problems out by having a natural goal scorer who's a proven goal scorer in this league. That still hurts me. It hurts me just like the Lewis Ferguson transfer. How on earth did we not end up with Lewis Ferguson at this football club? I will never know. You know, he could have been the captain of the club for many years to come.
The only thing we can do with that is we can't go back. We can't go back in time. But what we need to stop it from happening
No,
in the future. We need to ensure
I
that
know.
Scotland's best talents we should be looking at all times at the early ages, and the snobbery needs to end because it's quite simple. These guys that you mentioned would cost a fortune for us to buy now. Well, we're getting them for pennies.
Yeah, but I think it will help having a having Jim Gillespie as the CEO, and you know we still need a director of football to come in as well. Would we get someone in who knows the Scottish game in that sense, and then potentially we will be looking at strongly looking at the Scottish market next summer.
I mean, there was talk of Davy Weir, but he went to, was it Brighton or Bournemouth or something like that? Can't mind. Um, that's the type of guy you're wanting. Somebody that's been about the Scottish leagues and English leagues and understands the expectations of Rangers. But I don't know who they'll get
Mhm.
for it. I think they will bring in a director of football. I don't know. I really don't know. Right now,
Y-
it's just about maybe getting another two players in and we'll be happy short term. And then it's a massive project to do in the summer because this is the start of this. This isn't the end of it. This is the start of this new era.
I know, and that's the exciting thing. This is the start. You know, we've got owners. You know, owners that care about the club and have money to back us. And we have a manager that knows what he's doing. He can improve players. He knows where we need to strengthen. He's very and they have great dialogue between the two. You always hear Danny Rose saying how often they're communicating together. They
Yeah.
know where we're lacking. They're going out and they're buying players. You know, and you know, Hearts are doing really incredibly well, you know, to be top of the league by 6 points. But, you know, they are operating in a different market to us. They need to go to different leagues to try and find their players. So, in terms of future successes, it will be harder for them to maintain this because they're not as big of a club as we are. They haven't got the finances that we've got, you know. So we should be able to you know, if we get our recruitment right over this window, over the next window, we should be able to take care of them essentially. And if you look at the other half of the city, you know, they're all over the shop. They have no idea who they're going for. Martin O'Neill's openly said, you know, he wasn't expecting to be here for this window, and they're just sort of rushing around trying to find players, you know, and then they still have to then plan for to try and bring in a manager, to try and bring in a new sporting director, and plan for the summer transfer window. Um, you know, and if we win the league and they end up, you know, can't guarantee them Champions League football, etc., and then trying to bring players in without having the Champions League money, and these things can help elevate us to a level above them that we've never been. They've always boasted about having all this money, you know, 70, 80 million in the bank. They're burning through that pretty quick, especially with the whole Nancy saga. If we can win this league, if we can then get more backing from the owners, get more investment, you know, sell a couple of players, you know, I feel like we do need to be making 20 plus million a season on player sales. But if we can get this strategy right, bring in new
Yeah.
commercial deals, etc., we will overtake them because they have lived off of the chaos that we've been over the last decade, and they built up this reserve. But if we force them to panic buy, if we force them to go through it, they don't have owners as rich as our owners. They're not going to be putting in the money that our owners are going to be putting in. And if we can keep investing the way we're going to keep investing, then it could be a serious level of domination from us in years to come. I know I'm looking too far ahead, but this is what it feels like. We are a serious football club now, and we have not been a serious football club for a very long time, and it's exciting times. You know, I'm buzzing to have a bit of a break from league football this weekend because it's intense. You know, every game you're going into, you're nervous. You know, you really need the 3 points. I thought the 3 points at Pataudry were massive. But it'll be good to see what the squad looks like by the time we next play in the league because we've got Dundee at home and them two are playing each other, and that's so important because you
Somebody's going
know
to drop
one of
points.
them, at least one of them, is going to be dropping points. You know, but we have to do our business and beat Dundee. But if we can bring in the likes of the Scott Olsons and maybe a couple of others by the time that game comes around, we're looking really strong. And and let's start putting the pressure on them because we're putting the pressure on them off the field now, and we can keep pressure up on the field. You know, it's going to be such an exciting second half of the season.
Aye. I mean, just going back to what you're saying about the way the clubs are being run just now. Um, make no mistake about it, what happened to Rangers going down the leagues and the way they were treated and the way everything happened, and then they found out that the bill wasn't as much as they thought it would be and things like that. I'm not going to go into it. That was
Mm,
premeditated, and that wasn't by chance or mistake. That was premeditated, and Celtic were part of that. John Reid and things like that. Now they had all the years, as you said, to become really, really strong, and they did win the trophies, but they didn't have any competition. But they were absolutely garbage in Europe, and that's probably what their supporter are angry about.
hmm
They got these chances to go so much higher than us. We're the team that went to the European final, not them. Remember that when we weren't doing too great that decade, that part of the decade, we go to a European final, and it looks now like the screw's about to turn. I agree with you there, Jay. I think the screw is about to turn. I think it's already in the process of turning. I think that, you think that, and that lot across the city support know that as well. And it's exciting times, but it's about 1 week at a time now, 1 day at a time. I think tomorrow's going to be a big day for the club. I think they're going to announce maybe 2 players tomorrow. They've got their PR a lot better. If you watch the Rangers, the actual Rangers media team as well now, see about 6 months ago, it was awful. And it was really bad, the stuff that was coming out. It seems to be a bit more professional, fan orientated. It's almost like this is the magic bus who wants to come on board, and everybody from the fans to the chairman are getting on board it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I feel like they're really getting the fans involved, and they're being really creative with the way they're announcing players and stuff, and they're helping this sort of the excitement that we're all feeling. They're really adding to it, and it's great to see. It's just great to see a manager that understands the level we're at, and the expectations and demands of the club. It's great to see an owner who is here so often, considering he lives in the States. But even when he is over there, he's going into the pubs with the fans and watching the game.
He's sitting
I
down
feel like we've really becoming connected again as a fan base. And we've been through hell and back. And we
we've got
deserved it.
we've got the 49ers coming to Ibrox drinking pints of tenants,
Mm. Like,
mixing with the fans, got to fan events. Who would have ever thought that? See, 2 years
and
ago, before that was announced, you'd have thought I was crazy if I came on your TV and mentioned that. So the chairman's obviously getting involved in the culture, and when I say the culture, Rangers and football in general is a working class sport. We know you need money, and we know it's a business as well. But
mhm.
they've embraced the fact that the working class side of it they've embraced, because quite frankly, the support put more money in than anybody, and they've acknowledged that, to be fair.
Yeah, and I can't fault them at all. Yes, things happened at the start of the season, which having new owners and stuff, you expect everything to go well. Things didn't go well, and we know the reasons why. But they've acted decisively. They've got rid of the things that were holding the club back, and brought in proper football people, in Danny Roll as coach, and his coaching staff, etc., and bringing in a set piece coach. I mean, look how that's turned out. It's doing us wonders, set piece
Yeah.
FC and all that. So everything's going well for us, and I just
Also,
want it to
something, Jane.
continue.
Also, something I've just thought about this as you're on a wee rant there. But no, I hope I'm no jinxing it when I say this. Touch wood. Well, he's not. Our injuries, our fitness levels seem to be a little better over the last couple of months since Danny Rowe's been in as well. We had a few issues with the muscle tears, the muscle strains and that. I think that's because they weren't fit enough, and he's got them fit enough, and because of that, it was muscle. That's me guessing. But we don't seem to have as many injuries, and we don't seem to be. We seem to be a wee bit faster at all times in the game, especially in the last part of the match. So I think he's done wonders with the fitness side
Mm.
as well. And I think because due to that might be the diet, I think he's the kind of guy that would be looking after their diets as well as their health.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that you just know he's in all of the details, right? He's coaching players not just about how to play football, but probably how to treat their bodies outside of football, and how to make sure that they're
Yeah.
well recovered for games. You can just tell he's that sort of like a nerd almost, in terms of football. But looking back at the injuries, I mean, obviously, we got a big one in Connor Barron, and that was an unfortunate one, because Aberdeen were kicking him off the pitch because he was that good, and that's the only way they could stop him. So he's unfortunately picked up that injury. But other than that, I think Cornelius and Suter, they got injured on international duty, didn't they? Both of them.
Yeah, yeah. They
So
both of them are international, so that's what my point is. They're not getting in, they don't seem to be getting silly injuries, is maybe a better point, and they don't seem to be getting injuries because they're no fit.
no, but what I also noticed, and it's the same for Romans, that the new left back that's coming to the club now. Um, he's fit and ready to start, but they're going to take their time with him. I feel like that's very much their mindset. They've looked at some of the injuries that have had and have had in the past, and thought, why rush put players into the squad? Let's build them up to make sure that we can avoid that situation in the future. Do everything in our powers to try and avoid it.
Yeah,
So I have confidence that we will see less of it because of the way that he's probably managing the training, managing their workloads, etc. And I feel like Danny Moore's going to be all over that. So again, that gives me a lot of confidence. Look at Magoma. I mean, could you imagine Ridvan, our left back, playing as many games as he's played? Imagine if Ridvan was your only left back. He'd play for 3 or 4 games, he'd be out again. So, we've got players in, and maybe that's the sort of, the players that we're looking at. Maybe we're looking at players that are more robust, and not and don't break all the time.
aye, no, 100%. I agree with that. So hope so, mate. It's looking good. That's all I'll say now. I don't want to go too far ahead of myself, but I said last week I'm quietly confident. I still am. There's a feel-good factor at Ibrox right now, and that is the polar opposite of what it was months ago at the start of the season. So it's all good, and
Yeah.
may it continue.
Yeah, we'll just go through a few comments then before we wrap it up. One from John Adams. Would you go for what in the summer? Would you go for what from Motherwell?
He's
In
been
the
linked. He's,
midfield?
I think he was linked. He's already. Aye, he may be a good shout, but I would wait till the summer. I agree with that. Aye, give him another couple of months. If he's playing well with Motherwell and he's not really required to do, could be a good
Yeah,
shout.
well, that's it. Like it's one of those, and I feel like we have to do that. I feel like we should be signing one or two of the top Scottish players. From the country. To try, because you want to weaken the opposition. Bayern Munich do it all the time. You see them go to their biggest challenges, their big main rivals, and they'll pick out a Lewandowski or whoever. And or
But also, you have to get,
Upamecano and
and you have to give credit to Motherwell over the years. They've been producing a lot of great young players and buying young players
yeah.
and buying a lot of great talent from the other leagues. So they're doing things right for their level.
Yeah, and to be fair to them, like the first 15-20 minutes on the game at Ibrox is the best football I've seen a team play against us this season. Right,
Aye.
we were getting played off the park in the first 15-20 minutes. Luckily, we got to grips with it and we ran out winners. But some of the football they're playing for Motherwell standard and the budget that they've got and the players that they've gone for and how the manager's getting them to play this free flowing football, it's quite extraordinary, to be fair. So
Yeah.
well into Motherwell for that. But yeah, Water's definitely a player that should be on the list for sure. And I think Robert's not too happy with my lineup. What is that team like? Lineup guaranteed that won't be starting. He'll be more or less full strength to start.
That's what I
I'd
said. They'll
Mikey Moore
finish with
as a
that
CM
team.
or
That's what I
6.
said.
I'd Mikey Moore as a CM, more of an 8, box to box. But yeah, like you say, you think he'll start a stronger lineup?
I
Side?
would have had one ready. Sorry, mate. I was running late today when I go back in. I think he'll start strong. I don't think he'll take any chances, and that's the way I would do it. Giving Annan plenty of respect as well. Just I think he'll introduce those players, but I think he'll start with a strong team, get the business done early, and then start introducing the fringe players, shall we call them?
Yeah, and maybe that's and he did mention about the shocks that have happened, and maybe that's what he's going to go for. He'll go for his normal starting 11, essentially, get 2 or 3 goals up, and then make the subs at halftime. So yeah, should we wrap up there?
I'm good with that, mate. Unless there's any more comments, I think that'll do for the night.
Yeah, we've got one last one because it's a positive. Rangers 6 and an Athletic 0 in the Scottish
Aye,
Cup.
keep your predictions. Send them in as well. Aye.
Yeah, put your predictions in the comments, etc. Yeah, I think if we win 6-0, then that'd be fantastic, and
And
hopefully.
the big question is, if Rangers win 6-0, how many goals will VAR? Is VAR involved in that? Actually, I don't
I
know
don't
what that
think
is.
I don't know. I don't think VAR's involved, is it? Until like maybe the later rounds, because
Aye, so
not
VAR.
every ground will have it.
So we'll not be refereed twice tomorrow night. That's one thing.
Yeah, I know.
If
Yeah, I mean, I saw the picture of the amount of goals that we've had like disallowed or something compared to the rest of the team, and it's like, what on earth? Especially when you know we've had goals like the Fernandes one against Aberdeen disallowed. You're thinking this is just absolute nonsense.
Seen a
You know, that
stat.
should have
I
never
seen a
been
stat
disallowed.
tonight, Jay. Jay, I seen a stat tonight. I've not put it in the chat yet. 1 in 3 goals, Rangers are getting chopped off there.
But it does feel like that though. Every time we score a goal, it's like, oh, this is not going to count. I remember there was one in the Scottish Cup, was it Scottish Cup final, Scottish League Cup final, where we scored from a corner, and then there was like I don't know, like a hand on the goalkeeper, and they chalked it off. I think it might have been Joe Hart at the time, the other year. I can't remember if that was the
Was,
final or
was that not the SEMA?
semi-final.
Was that not the SEMA one you're talking about?
Yeah, it might be the Seamer one. I think Seamer scored. I think he was going to put us 1-0 up, and then we.
It's happened that many times, mate. We can't even get to remember because every big game, Rangers get a goal chopped off.
I know, I know. I mean, when we played in the a couple of seasons ago, in the old firm, Dessus had a couple chalked off, didn't he? One
Aye.
at home. I think we ended up getting beat that game 1-0, but he scored to put us 1-0 up, and it didn't count. Got chalked off for absolute nothing for getting kicked in the back in his ankles, and then we had the 3-3 game where. He thought he equalised like immediately after we got the 2-1, but then that was chalked off from a foul like 5 minutes before. So yeah, it keeps happening, and really it's embarrassing, you know, especially when the other half of Glasgow don't get players sent off for clear straight reds.
85 games now. 85
85
games
games.
without a red card.
And these are things that the club as well have to keep mentioning, though. You know, we need them to be like, you put the pressure on them because it's unacceptable. You know, they made a big fuss about when they got the player sent off the last time, and they haven't had a player sent off since. You
Yeah,
know,
and that's why they
and
done
it's
it.
not
That's why they
surprising
did it.
they've had a lot less games in Europe, but a lot more red cards. You know, because European referees aren't afraid to send them off, whereas clearly the ones in our domestic game they are.
Callum
So
McGregor's even said that we're refereed at a different standard in Europe.
yeah, and
That sums up Scottish football for you.
until we put the pressure on them, I can't see it changing. But if we can just and this is key now because I watched their game last night and they could have easily been 4-0 down at halftime, right?
I said that.
If we can just get the players right and not leave it and win games comfortably and not leave it to these decisions, then that's the best way to tackle this because clearly we are refereed differently to the way they're refereed. You see it all the time that the goal is disallowed, the sendings off that we get and they don't get. We just need to make sure that the referees can't control games like the way they currently are by battering them. So we're on the up, mate. We are on the up. Times are exciting. I'm absolutely buzzing. I can't wait for the flag above the head for Scott Olsen tomorrow, and let's do this. So
Aye,
anything else?
onwards and upwards. Yep.
All good. Right. Thank you all for. Huh?
I'll let you do the business. I can't
Well,
hit the button.
yes, happy days. Right, thank you all for joining, getting involved in the comments, etc. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow to do the pre-match and the post-match reaction to Rangers versus Annan. Let's hope it's a big win, plenty of goals, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.